Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about Phil Town's portfolio. This is an update. This is portfolio as of March 31st, 2021. And I got to give a shout out to Brad at Stock Compounders, as he did a video here last day and provided the link to the SEC filing for Phil Town. So thank you, Brad. Appreciate it. So in this video, I want to specifically look at the options that Phil Towns has written as of the end of the quarter. And for us novice investors, retail investors, we can look at the stocks, the companies he is really interested in, and then at the price he wants to buy them at. So it's a great way to really kind of take a look and deep dive in his brain and figure out what he is trying to do, whether you want to clone what he's doing or just dig into the stocks or companies that he's looking to buy into. So here are the put options that he has sold, and then he's got some call options down here. Now, if you don't know much about put and call options, I'll just explain it very briefly. So what Phil Towns is doing is he's saying he's basically found a company that he wants to buy. Let's say it's company XYZ, and he wants to buy that company at $30 a share. He's gone through his whole evaluation and said, hey, I like this company at $30 a share. Maybe it's trading at $35 a share at the time. So what he does, he sells a put option at a strike price of $30. And why he likes to sell the put options is that he actually gets a premium for those contracts. And keep in mind that you always have a buyer and a seller. A seller is obligated as part of the contract, where the buyer has a right. The buyer can decide whether they want to actually put those options to the seller. The key is what that strike price is. Does it fall, does the stock price fall below that strike price before the expiration date? So for example, company XYZ, they're trading at 35. He does a put option at $35. Say that stock drops to $25. Then all of a sudden the buyer says, hey, Phil Town, you promised to buy these options for me at $30 a share. So he has to buy those at $30 a share, even though they're worth $25, but he still gets to keep that premium. So when he sold those options, he collected a premium from that buyer, and say it was $1 per contract per share. Keep in mind that each contract is 100 shares. So in my example, the contract would be worth $3,000. So it'd be a $30 strike price, 100 shares in that contract. It's worth $3,000. So that's why not everybody can sell put options. It really depends how big your portfolio is, how much money you have in there. Because once you sell, say my example, a $3,000 contract, that the broker actually takes that money from your portfolio and already obligates it to that contract anyway. So just keep that in mind. Not only that, but as a seller of the contract, you do have to pay a small fee to your broker for doing that. So like for me, it's 65 cents for Schwab. So that's kind of the background how put options work. But just keep in mind, if he does put options, those are stocks that he likes. So let's go through the first one on here, and that is iShares Silver. He sold 500 put options at a $22.50 strike price. So what that tells me is he's continuing to hedge against the market. He has said many times in his podcasts that he truly believes inflation is occurring as the year progresses. I also agree with that. I mean, Warren Buffett in his last earnings meeting for Berkshire Hathaway said the same thing. They're seeing lots and lots of inflation, and a lot has to do with the stimulus money that was pumped into the economy. There's just so much money out there, high demand, not enough supply. And so it's really pushing up the price of product throughout all the market. And so Phil Towns already owns gold ETFs. Now it looks like he wants to own some silver ETFs as well. The second one here is the SPDR ETF, S&P 500, that is 250 contracts. Now that's really telling me is that he truly believes that S&P 500 as a whole is going to continue going up into the future. Now the first 5 option contracts we're going to talk about all expired in April. So this one already expired. Now the next one I really found interesting, probably the most interesting out of all of these, and that's Sprouts Farmers Market. The reason why I find it so interesting, one, this is the first time that we've seen this in his portfolio, the first time we've seen him sold options on this. And he has sold 650 contracts at a $28 exercise price. So that $28 is another interesting piece of this, because when I looked at Sprouts during the first quarter, they averaged between $19 and $22 a share. So putting an exercise price of $28 a share, that was like, I don't know, was that 30-40% above what the current prices were in the first quarter. So he must be really bullish on this company. So I plan to do a full stock analysis on Sprouts in the future. If Phil Town is that interested in it, I might be interested as well too. So keep a lookout for that one coming out. And Sprouts Farmers Market, they are a grocery store. So the next one is Sturm, Ruger and Company. This is actually one that has been on the Magic Formula list for months. And they're an ammunition and gun company. He has 120 contracts out there at an exercise price of $67.50. And so that one's interesting because he has some call options down here too. So he's got call options at $77.50. So what call options are is he's basically selling, these are cover calls because he already owns these shares. So he's willing to part with these shares if they hit $77.50. So that, my guess is he already, bought these at like say $40, and so he's probably doubled his price already. So that's why he's willing to sell them at that price. So he's got call options, cover calls, and then these are naked puts. So naked puts means you don't own these shares. So he's got naked puts and then cover calls. Kind of interesting on that. But he's still willing to buy him at $67.50. And I looked into this company a couple different times, and they've gone up quite a bit over the last few months. So it's been interesting that it stayed on the Magic Formula list. And I think the reason why this stock price has done so well and the free cash flow has done well, first of all, it's a really well-run company. I mean, their earnings has grown like 20% year over year for like 3 years. And their free cash flow is really, really solid. But I think it was kind of a play around the Biden administration and people's fear potentially that they might mitigate or reduce the amount of guns that could be sold or put bigger restrictions on there. So people may have gone out and buy some of their products, and that's why we're seeing their revenue and earnings really go up over the last several months. But that's definitely an interesting one. And all these on here that I'm talking about, it's not a recommendation to go buy, sell, or any of these. Always do your own due diligence. Next one is Boeing. So actually the next two are Boeing. This is one that he already owns as well. So he did 100 contracts at $205 exercise price. And then he also did some at $210 exercise price going out to January. So the first 5 we talked about already expired in April, and this last one for Boeing goes all the way out to 2022. And I know he's really, really bullish on Boeing. I own Boeing as well. And when I did intrinsic value of Boeing, I thought it was around $350. And management for Boeing keeps talking about 2023 is kind of when things will hopefully start getting fairly back to normal for them. But they've gone through a lot of different events. But definitely a company that I'm super bullish on as well too. So let's take a look at his options that got put to him also in the previous quarter. So he had some Boeing puts at an exercise price of $200 that got put to him during that time. And then he also had the Spider S&P 500 250 contracts that got put to him in the first quarter as well. So those are the option contracts that are in his portfolio at the end of the first quarter. You guys got some value, smash that thumbs up button. Really helps out the channel. I personally appreciate it. If you like this content, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll catch you guys on the other side. Take care and God bless.